My name is Grace Evans. I'm 30 years old and I work as a freelance programmer in Philadelphia. For as long as I can remember, I've been the one my family calls whenever they need help, or more accurately, when they need money. It's a role I never chose yet, one they've never stopped assigning to me. Last Sunday, during what was supposed to be a simple family dinner, the atmosphere felt heavier than usual. We were sitting at a restaurant, plates of pasta going cold, when Dad leaned forward with a smug look on his face. "We've booked plane tickets to Paris," he announced, grinning. "This weekend, just the three of us." Mom nodded silently, her eyes carefully avoiding mine. My older sister smirked, her lips curling like she had just won a secret competition. I froze, my fork suspended midair as their words sank in. Just the three of them. Once again, I was the outsider, the fourth one, the one who didn't matter. I forced a smile despite the sharp twist in my stomach. "Paris, huh?" I said, my voice steady even though my heart felt like it was breaking. They didn't even blink. My sister's sneer deepened her eyes, challenging me to react. And then I realized the cruel truth: they hadn't just excluded me, they had paid for their dream vacation with my money. A bank alert I had ignored earlier flashed in my mind, an $8,000 charge I had never approved. My heart pounded, but I kept my face blank, nodding like nothing was wrong. Inside, though, I was done being their ATM. This wasn't just a trip, it was betrayal. And betrayals, I've learned, always demand consequences. So I waited. I planned. And I promised myself they would face every single one of them for crossing me. Before I share how my plan unfolded, tell me, what time is it where you are, and which city are you watching from? I want to know just how far my story has traveled. Monday morning, I sipped coffee at my desk, the bitter taste mirroring my mood. Yesterday's dinner still stung, but it wasn't new. My family had been draining me for years, and I was done ignoring it. Last spring, I paid $3,000 for my sister Leah's 33rd birthday party at a fancy downtown venue. I covered catering, decorations, even the DJ, thinking it'd bring us closer. But when the night came, Leah didn't invite me. "It's just for my friends," she texted, as if I was a stranger. I stood in my apartment, receipt in hand, feeling like a fool for believing she'd include me. The sting wasn't just the money, it was her smug dismissal, like I owed her. Then there was Dad. 2 years ago, he used my name to rent a sleek black Mercedes for his company's gala, no permission asked. "It's just easier this way," he said when I found out, shrugging off my frustration. The rental company called me when he returned it late, racking up $500 in fees. I paid to avoid the hassle, but Dad never mentioned it again, like my wallet was his to dip into. Mom wasn't any better. She'd drag me to upscale restaurants, ordering lavish meals to post on Instagram, all for her followers' likes. "Grace, you've got this right," she'd say, sliding the bill my way. I'd nod, swiping my card while she captioned her posts with hashtags about living large. Each time I hoped for a thank you, but all I got was her scrolling through comments, beaming at the praise. Leah's worst offense came last summer. She pitched an online clothing boutique, all big dreams and no plan. "I need a loan, Grace," she said, eyes wide with fake sincerity. I sent her $2,000, trusting her promise to repay. Months passed, no payment, just her posting photos in designer outfits she claimed were business expenses. When I asked about the money, she laughed. "You're so uptight," she said, brushing me off. Her entitlement burned, like she thought my hard-earned cash was hers to spend. Looking back, I saw the pattern. They treated me like an endless ATM, always open, no gratitude, just demands. Dad took my credit for his image, Mom used me for her social media clout, and Leah acted like I existed to fund her lifestyle. Every instance piled up, each one a weight I'd carried too long. I wasn't their daughter or sister, I was their resource, and they assumed I'd keep giving. The unfairness hit me hard, like a knot tightening in my chest. I stared at my coffee, now cold, and felt something shift. I wasn't going to let them walk over me anymore. Their betrayal wasn't just about money, it was about respect, or the complete lack of it. I'd been blind to it for years, but now I saw clearly. They'd crossed a line and I was ready to push back. Tuesday afternoon, my phone pinged with a bank alert that froze me in place. I opened the app heart pounding and saw it an $8,000 charge for a Paris hotel, and private guided tours slapped onto my credit card without my consent. The screen glowed with details: a luxury suite at Le Meurice and a VIP Louvre experience booked under my name. I blinked disbelief, turning to dread. This wasn't a glitch. It was calculated. I tapped into my account history, fingers trembling, and uncovered a new Visa card opened in my name, one I'd never applied for. The statements listed transactions for their Paris trip. Dad, Mom, and Leah had used my identity to bankroll their getaway. No permission, no warning. I called Leah, my voice sharp, barely holding back rage. "What's this $8,000 charge on my card?" I demanded, gripping my phone. She laughed, a cold, cutting sound. "You can handle it, Grace," she said, her tone thick with entitlement, as if my money was hers to claim. I pushed harder, asking why they opened a card in my name. "Don't blow this out of proportion," she sneered, her voice dripping with mockery before she hung up. Her words burned, each syllable a jab at my trust. I stood there, breath shallow, her dismissal igniting a fury I hadn't felt before. Leah didn't just take my money, she acted like I owed it to her, like I was nothing but a tool for their plans. I opened my laptop, determined to find proof. My inbox held the evidence: confirmation emails for their Paris bookings, all tied to my credit card, but sent to Mom's email address. I clicked through, jaw-tight, reading details of their lavish itinerary: a 5-night stay, a private Seine River cruise, a champagne tasting tour. Every email was a stab, proof they'd planned this behind my back. Mom's email address glared at me from the screen, her silence louder than any excuse. Dad's name appeared in the fine print, a quiet accomplice to their scheme. They'd counted on me staying oblivious, footing their bills without a fight. The betrayal hit like a tidal wave, raw and unrelenting. I'd spent years paying for their whims, believing it was my duty as family. But this was different. This was theft, a deliberate violation of my trust. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling, my mind replaying every time I'd let their demands slide. Leah's smug laugh echoed Mom's sneaky email routing, stung Dad's silent role in the fraud, twisted the knife deeper. They didn't see me as their daughter or sister. I was their mark, a resource to exploit. My chest tightened, anger mixing with hurt. I wasn't just mad, I was done. I pulled up my bank's fraud report page, my resolve like steel. This wasn't about a trip anymore. It was about dignity, about refusing to be their puppet. They thought I'd stay quiet, keep paying, let them walk all over me. They miscalculated. I hovered over the fraud report button, fingers steady now. Their freeloading had gone too far, and I was ready to make them pay, not with money, but with consequences. This was my line in the sand, and I was done letting them cross it. Saturday evening, I watched their flight status on my laptop, my heart steady but racing. The tracker showed their plane to Paris, lifting off, carrying Dad, Mom, and Leah to their stolen vacation. I didn't hesitate. I opened the booking portal for Le Meurice, the luxury hotel they'd charged $8,000 to my card for, and canceled their 5-night reservation with a single click. The confirmation popped up. Booking terminated. Next, I logged into the tour agency's site, voiding their private Louvre tour and Seine River cruise. Each cancellation felt like a weight lifting, a small act of reclaiming what they'd taken. I wasn't just stopping their trip, I was stopping their hold over me. I grabbed my phone and dialed my bank's fraud department, my voice firm as I reported the card they'd opened in my name. "I didn't authorize this," I said, detailing the $8,000 charges. The agent walked me through, freezing the Visa card, ensuring no further transactions could slip through. I filed an identity theft report, naming Dad, Mom, and Leah as the culprits behind the unauthorized account. The process was straightforward but surreal, my own family exposed as thieves. The agent promised an investigation, and I hung up knowing their financial lifeline was cut. Next, I tackled the services they'd leached off for years. I logged into my router's admin page and revoked their access to my Wi-Fi, their devices now stranded without my network. Then I opened Netflix, removing their profiles from my account, Mom's endless rom-com queue, and Leah's reality show binges gone. I hit Spotify, Hulu, and even the cloud storage they used, severing every connection. Each click was deliberate, a clear message my resources were no longer theirs to exploit. I moved to my accounts, changing every password, bank, email, even my social media. I enabled two-factor authentication, locking them out for good. They'd relied on my openness, my trust, but that door was slammed shut now. My laptop screen glowed with confirmation messages, each one a brick in the wall I was building between me and their greed. I wasn't just protecting my money, I was protecting myself. My phone buzzed, pulling me from my focus. It was Brandon, my boyfriend, texting, "You're doing the right thing, Grace. Stay strong." His words hit me like a lifeline, steadying the part of me that wavered. I'd told him about their betrayal the night before, and he'd listened, his voice calm but resolute, urging me to stand my ground. "They don't get to use you anymore," he'd said, and now his text echoed that strength. I typed back a quick thanks, feeling his support like a shield. It was the push I needed to keep going, to not second-guess myself. I leaned back in my chair, a rush of empowerment washing over me. For the first time in years, I wasn't the quiet daughter, the endless wallet, the one who just paid and stayed silent. I was taking back control, step by deliberate step. They thought they could jet off to Paris on my dime, laughing at my expense. They were wrong. I'd waited until their plane was in the air, ensuring they'd land in a mess of their own making. This wasn't about spite. It was about justice, about drawing a line they couldn't cross again. I closed my laptop, my resolve like steel, ready for whatever came next. Sunday morning, my phone lit up from Paris, and I knew the storm had hit. A notification from Facebook popped up first. Leah had posted a scathing rant calling me selfish and petty for cutting them off. Her words painted me as the villain, claiming I'd ruined their dream trip out of jealousy. The post was public, tagged with my name, and already had comments from her friends piling on, accusing me of being heartless. I stared at the screen, her lies twisting like a knife, but I didn't respond. Let her scream into the void. She'd exposed herself, not me. My phone buzzed again, this time a voicemail from Mom. Her voice cracked thick with tears as she pleaded, "Grace, please fix the hotel situation. We're stranded here." She described their humiliation at Le Maurice, how the front desk had turned them away because the reservation was canceled. Her sobs grew louder, each one a calculated pull at my guilt, but I felt nothing. Her tears were real, but her remorse wasn't. She'd never apologized for using my card, only for getting caught. Then Dad called, his voice a low growl. "You've humiliated us, Grace," he snapped, spitting out each word. "We're stuck in Paris because of your stunt." He ranted about the canceled tours, Louvre Seine cruise, all gone, and how they'd been left scrambling for a place to stay. His anger burned through the phone, blaming me for their mess as if I'd forced them to steal my identity. I held the phone silent, letting his tirade wash over me without a word. At the hotel, they'd faced cold reality. The staff at Le Maurice had refused check-in, citing unpaid charges after I'd voided the booking. The tour agency had emailed them confirming the Louvre and Seine River trips were canceled due to non-payment. They were stranded in a foreign city, their lavish plans crumbling with no Wi-Fi or Netflix to distract them. My accounts were locked tight. I pictured them huddling in a cramped Airbnb. They'd scrambled to book, their pride shattered, and felt a quiet satisfaction. They'd built their dream on my money, and now they were paying the price. I stayed silent, ignoring their calls and messages. Mom's voicemail played on repeat in my mind, her voice desperate, but I deleted it without replying. Dad's fury didn't faze me. His accusations were just noise. Leah's Facebook post sat there unanswered because I didn't need to defend myself to her audience. I focused on my boundaries, drawing a line I wouldn't let them cross again. My phone stayed quiet now, my choice to shut them out, a shield I'd never had before. Then the texts started coming from relatives. My cousin Anna messaged first confused, "What's going on with Leah's post? Did you really cancel their trip?" An aunt asked if I was okay, unsure who to believe. Their questions flooded in, each one a crack in the facade Leah had built. I didn't reply yet, but their doubt gave me strength. They were starting to see through the lies. The truth was on my side, and I'd make sure it came out when the time was right. Monday night, I set up my phone for TikTok, my hands steady with purpose. My friend Tara stood beside me, tweaking the lighting and testing the stream's connection. She adjusted the angle of my phone, ensuring the video feed was clear. "This is your moment, Grace," she said, focused on the tech setup, her fingers flying over her laptop to monitor the stream's stability. I took a deep breath, hit the live button, and faced the camera. It was time to expose the truth about Dad, Mom, and Leah's credit card fraud. I spoke directly to the viewers, my voice calm but firm. I described how they'd opened a Visa card in my name, charging $8,000 for their Paris trip without my consent. I held up my phone, showing screenshots of bank alerts and booking confirmations, each one a damning piece of evidence. "This isn't just about money," I said, my eyes locked on the lens. "It's about trust," and they broke it. Tara nodded from behind her laptop, signaling the stream was running smoothly, no glitches. Comments flooded in, viewers expressing shock and support, their words fueling my resolve. After the live stream, I opened Facebook and crafted a post attaching the same evidence: bank alerts, emails sent to Mom's inbox, proof of their unauthorized card. I tagged Dad, Mom, and Leah, letting the world see their actions. I wrote, "I'm done being their ATM. Here's the truth." Within minutes, relatives started commenting. My cousin Anna wrote, "Grace, I had no idea. I'm with you." An uncle added, "This is unbelievable. You did the right thing." Others expressed disbelief, their reactions a mix of outrage and sympathy. The support poured in, each comment a crack in the facade my family had built. Leah's response was swift. Her scathing post from Sunday calling me selfish vanished from her profile. She'd deleted it, likely realizing her lies couldn't stand against my evidence. But it was too late. My TikTok livestream had been shared across platforms, and my Facebook post was gaining traction. Friends of friends shared it. Strangers left messages of encouragement, and the story spread like wildfire. My phone buzzed with notifications, the online buzz a stark contrast to the silence I'd endured for years. I sat back, a wave of validation washing over me. For so long, I'd been the silent victim, swallowing their betrayals to keep the peace. Now I was speaking out, and people were listening. The weight of their manipulation lifted, replaced by a sense of strength I hadn't felt before. I wasn't just exposing their fraud, I was reclaiming my voice. The comments from relatives, especially Anna's unwavering support, grounded me. I wasn't alone anymore. The truth had set me free from their game. Tara checked the stream analytics, confirming thousands had watched live, with views climbing as clips circulated. "Solid setup," she said, giving me a quick thumbs up before tweaking the video quality for the saved file. Her technical help was flawless: stable connection, clear audio, no interruptions. She didn't offer emotional pep talks. That wasn't her role. She was there to make sure my story reached the world, and she delivered. I nodded at her, grateful for her skill, as I scrolled through the growing wave of support online, ready to face whatever came next. 2 days after the live stream, my doorbell rang in Philadelphia, sharp and insistent. I opened the door to find Mom standing there, her face streaked with tears. "Grace, you tore this family apart?" She choked out, clutching her purse like a lifeline. She accused my social media posts of shaming them, claiming I'd destroyed their reputation with my lies. Her sobs grew louder, a performance meant to pull me back into their web, but I stood unmoved, arms crossed, staring at her in silence. Dad stepped forward from behind her, his eyes blazing with anger. "You betrayed us," he said, voice low and cutting. He demanded I restore their access to Wi-Fi, Netflix, and the other services I'd cut off as if I owed them my resources. "You've gone too far," he added, pointing at me like I was the criminal, not them. His words echoed the same entitlement I'd heard all my life, but this time they bounced off me. I wasn't their obedient daughter anymore. My phone buzzed in my pocket, Leah calling from somewhere else. I put it on speaker, letting her voice fill the tense air. "You're just jealous, Grace?" She spat, her tone venomous. "You ruined our dream trip because you can't stand us having something nice." She rambled about Paris, how my cancellations left them humiliated, as if their theft was my fault. Her accusations stung, but they didn't break me. I'd heard enough of her excuses to know they were hollow. I took a deep breath, my voice steady. "I'm done being your bank," I said, looking Mom in the eyes, then Dad. "You stole from me, and you expect me to keep paying no more." I stepped back, my hand on the door. "We're finished here." I shut it firmly, cutting off Mom's protests and Dad's glare. Leah's voice was still ranting on the phone, but I ended the call with a tap, her words silenced at last. Their manipulation crumbled in that moment. Mom's tears, Dad's accusations, Leah's venom. They'd tried every tactic to guilt me back into submission, but I was unbreakable now. I leaned against the closed door, a rush of freedom coursing through me. For years, I'd been under their control, tethered by guilt and obligation. Now I was free, my boundaries a fortress they couldn't breach. The weight of their expectations lifted, leaving me lighter than I'd ever felt. Later that night, my phone pinged with a text from a neighbor, Mrs. Carter, who lived across the hall. Heard the commotion, she wrote. "You did the right thing, Grace. They don't get to treat you like that." Her words, simple but sincere, bolstered my resolve. Even a near stranger saw what my family refused to acknowledge. I replied with a quick, "Thank you," my heart steady, knowing I'd stood my ground and the world was starting to see the truth. 3 months later, I walked by the river in Philadelphia, the breeze cool against my skin. For the first time in years, I lived free, no calls, texts, or demands from Dad, Mom, or Leah. I'd cut all contact, blocking their numbers and emails, and poured my energy into my career. My job as a graphic designer was thriving. I'd landed a big client, a local startup, and spent my days sketching vibrant logos instead of bailing out my family. My apartment, once a hub for their mooching, was now my sanctuary, filled with my own choices. New plants, a cozy reading nook. No trace of their chaos. Leah faced the fallout of her actions. Word spread through mutual acquaintances that her loan applications for a new car and apartment were denied, her credit score tanked by the fraud she'd helped orchestrate. She'd tried to play the victim online, but the truth I'd shared left her exposed. Her reputation, built on flashy posts and borrowed luxury, crumbled under the weight of her own lies. I didn't gloat, I didn't need to. Her consequences were her own, a direct result of her greed. Dad and Mom took a harder hit. They sold their house, a sprawling suburban place they'd flaunted for years, to settle debts tied to the unauthorized credit card. The sale was quick, forced by mounting bills, and they moved into a modest rental across town. Their social circle, once dazzled by their parties and trips, shrank as whispers of their financial mess spread. They'd lost the status they'd clung to, their pride eroded by the choices they made. I heard this through a distant cousin, but I felt no urge to reconnect, just a quiet relief that their world no longer pulled me in. I channeled my energy into a new project, a blog about setting boundaries. I wrote about my journey from being my family's ATM to standing up for myself, sharing tips on protecting your peace. The response was overwhelming. Readers from across the country left comments sharing their own stories of toxic family dynamics. One woman wrote, "Your story gave me courage to say no." Another said, "I'm learning boundaries because of you." Their words built a community, a network of strangers who felt like allies, validating my choice to put myself first. The biggest lesson I learned was clear: family love doesn't mean endless sacrifice. For years, I'd believed I had to give everything: money, time, trust to prove I cared. But their betrayal taught me that love without respect is just manipulation. Setting boundaries wasn't selfish, it was survival. Those lines I drew cutting contact, exposing their fraud, shutting the door protected my heart and my future. I wasn't just free from them, I was free to be me, unapologetically. Thank you for listening to my story. It's been a long road from that first dinner to this moment by the river, but sharing it has made me stronger. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had to set boundaries with family? Drop a comment below, and let's keep this conversation going. Your support means the world.